Richard Holden's here, party chairman. Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning, Kay. Nice to see you.
How much of a surprise was that then?
Well, it was almost as much as a surprise to me as seeing a former Prime Minister, David Cameron. As I saw your news, guys, I was watching Sky yesterday morning, and there was that gap as we all, I think, saw him walking out the car and then up Downing Street.
It was like, is that Bobby Ewing?
Well, it's a bit like that, yes.
So you didn't know that was happening either?
No, I didn't. But it's, I think it's good to have that, that people like myself, like Laura Trott, who are newer intakes coming through, but also to get some of that experience. People like David Cameron, who I worked for back in the day, and I was a junior guy in Tory Central Office, but that real wealth of experience. 11 years as party leader, 6 years as Prime Minister, and I think what he said yesterday when he said, he wants to, he's got that real sense of duty and public service, and when the Prime Minister asked him to serve. That's what he did. I think that was it's a noble aim from British politics, and it's good that we have people of that level of experience coming in. I remember when I was a lot younger and working briefly in the House of Lords, and I met Peter Carrington, who was Lord Carrington, Mrs Thatcher's Foreign Secretary from the House of Lords, and people with that level of wealth and experience, and he'd had a huge amount of experience. He'd
certainly got a lot of wealth.
I think Peter had been in Winston Churchill's government and then served all the way through to Thatcher. I think it's very important for politics not to lose some of that experience as well as bringing on the next generation.
What's he saying, though, to other Tory MPs? You're not good enough, so I'm bringing one of the old boys back.
Well, I think what you want is that proper combination. We've seen it happen before with the House of Lords. Nicky Morgan, you'll remember, was Secretary of State from the House of Lords. Peter Mandelson as well have served as Secretaries of State. And obviously we actually have ministers in every department from the House of Lords anyway. But I think when you've got people of real talent and experience who've got something to offer and want to offer their service to the country, I think it's a good thing to see.
You're going to be in charge of the election campaign, I'm guessing.
Well, I'll be part of that. We're working on it with a big team at CCHQ, but that's obviously also
the winning ingredient?
led by
is it David Cameron?
Number 10. I think it's actually delivering on the people's priorities. I think what people want to see is a strong, united party representing all parts of the country.
You didn't say no, I'm just saying.
You've got people.
Say no.
You've got people like me from the north of England. You've got my neighbour to the north, Guy, who's just become a transport minister as well, and then you've got people from the south of England as well. But the Conservative Party represents all parts of Britain in a way that I don't think other parties really do. And we stand in all parts of the country as well.
Yeah,
and
but
it's
you
right,
say that.
let me.
The reason I ask whether you're going to be in charge of the campaign is because, of course, you've got big problems with your seat, haven't you? So what are you going to do about that?
Well, so my seat, as you'll know from the the final iteration of the Boundary Commission, I'm sure you've been following it as closely as I have.
Well, I nearly gave a secret away then, and I've got to wait just a little bit longer before I tell you. But yes, I have been following it.
My seat gets split into four. So I'm not sure what's going to happen next. Obviously, local parties will decide on their candidates ahead of the next
You can't have chairman not having a seat, though, can you?
Well, I do have a seat at the moment, obviously,
yes,
until the day of the.
Which one are you going to fight in the next election?
No idea yet. Until the day of the next general election, I will continue to represent the people of North West Durham as I have consistently, and I think pretty well. I think even some of my opponents say that since I was elected in 2019. I was up there for 4 days last week. Did UK Parliament Week at 4 schools: Peasers West down in Billy Row, down at Parkside, down at Villarreal in Concert, and Stanhope Primary School over in Upper Weardale. I will continue to do that, and it's a role that I've been a minister as well, and doing that constituency MP role and a role in government is challenging, but I think you bring an extra X factor to it if you are able to do both, and I think it's really important in our system to maintain that constituency link.
OK, what do you think Lord Cameron is bringing to the role that James Cleverly didn't have?
Well, I think what we're seeing here is that huge amount of experience as a former Prime Minister there, and James is going to be doing a really important role now as Home Secretary too. But David Cameron's worked on the international stage for many years as Prime Minister. It was 11 years as party leader. I think that always brings something extra to it. I mean, you've got to remember as well that...
so it's experience that he's got.
Well, obviously, David Cameron also brought back William Hague, who was a former party leader, to be Foreign Secretary when he was Prime Minister as well. So I think there's always looking to ensure there's that right balance right across government. You want people from all parts of the country, all backgrounds. And it's one of the things the Conservative Party is best at, ensuring that people from any background can, really move on.
Being chairman means you don't take breath, doesn't it? Let me get a question or two in, if you don't mind. Braverman, why was she not sacked earlier?
Look, the Prime Minister's made his decision. He makes that decision about when and who to move in the... These are decisions...
You're the chairman, no?
I back all the Prime Minister's decisions. We've got collective responsibility right across government.
So he was right to sack her?
It is absolutely right to make... He can make any decisions that he wants, and that is his right as the Prime Minister and as the leader of our party. And I think that's, that is...
She says she's got more to say. Would you ask her as party chairman to keep her own counsel rather than causing trouble?
I think everybody... all elected MPs and members of the party, actually, more generally, all have opinions and roles, and I want them to express them in the most collegiate way possible.
Yeah, OK. But would you ask her to keep her own counsel?
No, I think I want colleagues to share views. My door's always open for colleagues right across the country, whether that's members, association chairman,
thinking more publicly
or MPs.
rather than going to complain to the chairman.
I usually think the best way to get things done, it's something that I worked on when I was a backbench MP, is to often work behind the scenes to deliver significant change. It's something I did as a backbencher with banning hymenoplasty and virginity testing in legislation, worked with a member of the House of Lords on that, when I campaigned to get draft beer duty cut. There are lots of things you can do.
Where are you going with this,
What I'm saying is that there are lots of ways you can deliver change. And the best way is...
She should button it then, shouldn't she?
The best way is always to work with colleagues. And I think that's what we're going to see now, is a strong and united team at the top of the party. I think everybody wants to work together. We're all Conservative MPs.
She wants to agitate from the backbenches.
We're all part of one family, and one Conservative family, and I want us all to be
Families
united.
don't always get on.
Well, indeed, but I want us to be united and take a voice. But we all have a common purpose. The Conservative Party is a broad church.
I knew you were going to say broad church, and then I could say people die in broad church.
I think that's a good joke.
Thank you.
I enjoy it as well. I think it's really important that all parts of the party's views are reflected. We have a tradition in this country, which is basically that we present that broad coalition ahead of an election to the country. The Conservative Party is a centre-right party in British politics.
Centre-right, so you've moved to the centre.
With people with a lot of... we represent right from the centre to the right of the spectrum, so it's centre-right. But we have a broad...
centre-right means you're just right of centre.
No, we have a broad... centre and right. We have a broad political perspective there, which is what we're putting to the country. We have people from all parts of the country, people like me from the north of England, people like David Cameron, who is clearly not from the north of England, as well there. And it's really important that all backgrounds are represented, because we are that party of the country. England, Scotland, Wales.
Yeah, but in answer to my question, Suella Braverman should button it for now.
Suella is totally entitled to her opinions. I just say that all of us want to work collectively for the good of the country, because when we're looking at the next general election, it's going to be a choice between Sir Keir Starmer's cut-and-paste politics with his shadow chancellor, extra tax and spending constantly promised by them with no idea of where it's really coming from, who's going to pay for it, where we saw that policy today already over the last few weeks unravelling, for example, on apprenticeships. We know what the state the country was left in when Labour last left office. There have been some really good changes that we've implemented over the last 13 years, like in education, where we had...
OK. Just before I let you go, because we're out of time and you were about to go off again.
I was, sorry.
Yes, I know. A word for those that lost their positions yesterday.
Look, I've not always had the best luck in moving, and I'd just say that we're all part of one big Conservative family. We've all got something to offer right across the country, and I think it's really important that we present that united front now, because the threat to us is real. Jeremy Corbyn had Keir Starmer in his shadow cabinet, and Keir Starmer wanted to make him Prime Minister. We don't want something like that running our country.
So you're a safe pair of hands?
Well, I hope so.
Very good. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Thank you.